You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Kris, the Herons are back. And it's a Miami show. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 274 of the Battered Herons podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, as always, Mr. KBD. How are you doing, sir?
I mean, we're back at it like a crack addict. We're just in a different language less than 24 hours later. So,
and we got some friends with us. Well,
yes.
I don't know if I call Mike a friend right now. He might be a friend of me. What's going on, Mike and Branton? How you guys doing?
I'm not going to lie. I'm still not good. I'm not good at all. I'm not over Saturday.
That's understandable.
Listen, I'm dressed to support our players who very clearly had vacation plans they didn't want to interrupt. So I'm sure they're all on a beach somewhere, doing a lot better than we are.
Well, some of them are international duty. Right?
Yeah.
Messi, Campana. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, still.
The rest of them are on the beach. Their IG's already updated.
Really?
Bunch of bums.
All right. So I guess let's get straight to the nitty gritty, right? We wanted to have you guys on because, well, we already expressed our emotions post game, but I love listening to your show. I usually end up messaging you guys the next morning about it because I usually listen to it on the way to work. So I figured I'd just have you guys on, and then we do a collab episode where I get to pick your brain. So I'll start with Mike, the most dramatic. Overall, this season, do you consider it a failure?
I'm going to surprise you and say I actually don't. I think if you were to give it a grade, it's a D+. Okay. I don't think we can ignore the fact that we brought serious hardware home. I don't think we can ignore the fact that we got both a CCC bid and a CWC bid. Clearly, they were going to do anything possible to give us that Club World Cup bid, but we had to do something, and we did it. I think as a club, players developed, there was success. I will not ignore the fact that Tata stated MLS Cup or bust. He was quoted as, well, I changed the quote, but that's what he said. And ownership called it expectation for, 3-4 trophies. I think a lot's been said that the fans were misguided thinking we get 4 trophies. But that started with the club. So it's a below passing grade. The club has to go back to summer school. I think some accountability needs to be shown, but I will not give this team an F just because it's Supporter Shield. We took home what could be argued to be the hardest trophy in MLS to get. We set the points record. You can't call this a failure. People failed on this team, and we'll get to that, but I can't call this season a failure.
And real quick, just to the whole point of the Club World Cup, I know a lot of people say that they gifted it to us and that it should have gone to the MLS champion or whatever. If you're going based on the fact that it's a Club World Cup and FIFA is recognizing it as the best teams from each country, like, even though I hate the Supporter Shield and I think it's pointless, I mean, that's how most leagues kind of identify who the best team and their champion is. So it makes sense that's the person they would go with. Now, did they do it conveniently after Miami was the one to win it? Probably. But the argument is there that that's how most of these teams got selected.
And that's my argument is we had to do something. I'm sure if we had not gotten the Supporters Shield and gotten MLS Cup, then we would have gotten it for getting MLS Cup. Like, let's not pretend that's not true. But we had 100%. To bring a trophy home for FIFA to legitimize it, which is just a weird statement to think FIFA has to legitimize anything. But we did it. We did something we had to do to get it. So again, I can't call it. I can't call this year when there are successes to recognize.
Brian, what do you think?
So surprisingly, I'm going to go against Mike with this, and I didn't feel like this after the game. I thought I was kind of thinking along Mike's point of view, and then I had kind of looked at things, and then I think it is a failure. I think this club went out and stated their goal was multiple trophies this year, and I'm supposed to have to buy a new jersey because there's supposed to be a star here, according to Tata. And if you go out there and you tell me you're going to win multiple trophies and you come back with one, you got to go. I'm sorry. Like, Tata out for sure.
Oh, wait. We're not there yet.
We'll get to that.
All right.
Listen,
I
he's
think this whole season.
doing it though. Let
Listen.
him. Let him.
This season's a failure, especially because a team that should not be in the playoffs, other than MLS doing a money grab play-in game and then a best of 3 series, beats us 2 in a row, hands down. Like, even if you want to say, okay, well, let's grade it by trophies, right? We won 25% of the trophies that were available. Where's 25% a D plus? It's not. It's nowhere. If you want to use your school analogy, like,
Boom.
I am so happy we have silverware, but when this club's stated goals that they keep touting to everyone is, we're going to win multiple trophies with Messi. We're going to win everything with Messi. We're going to be the best team MLS has ever seen. And yeah, we were in the regular season where we didn't have Messi for most of the season, which is impressive, but our asses are on vacation while the rest of the league is getting ready to advance.
Minnesota is still in the playoffs. Like, what are we doing? I mean, Omer is here. I don't know if he's calling you Greg or what. Calm down, Greg. Listen, Greg. It's true what Branton is
playing
saying.
the role of Mike tonight is Branton.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what? I wasn't really there, but like, Branton, you fucking hook, line, and sinkered me right now, because it's absolutely true. Like, this team set the expectations. Like, the fans were cool. Okay, we'll take 1 trophy, maybe 2. Like, we got the Leagues Cup last year, and now we're getting, but these expectations were set by the team, by the organization.
But are we really going to say
the coaches?
A trophy and the bids, it's a complete failure? That's why I struggle to call it enough. It's a non-passing grade. You got to go to summer school, but guys, we still brought home.
Listen, non-passing is a failure.
No, it's not that. There's a reason why
no one here is
grades.
saying complete failure. It's a failure.
I don't see. I just don't. I can't call it.
It is.
And I say it. I said it when we won the Shield. I said after we won the Shield and we got the bid, I had to pull back. If we hadn't gotten that CWC bid, maybe I feel differently.
You have Messi on this team. You have the deepest team ever assembled, the most talented team ever assembled, and you win Supporter Shield. That's it. No star on the badge, which is what you have constantly said is the most important thing to you, is putting a star on the badge.
It is.
We can't even win the made-up Leagues Cup bullshit. We couldn't get out of CCC.
If we won Leagues Cup and won Supporter Shield, still failure? Was it MLS Cup or bust for you in the end?
It's such a weird place to be, though, right? Like, I mean, we did so well this year, and we walked away with the most points in an entire season. We got the Supporter Shield, right? But like, I don't know, man. It's a weird place to be in terms of, like, we did really, really good, but at the same time, like, it's unfortunate that we couldn't even get out of the damn first round.
Well,
like,
the whole thing, I just keep on laughing because Branton, you said so many times on our show, and I think this show, we're a tournament team.
I know how many times.
How many times?
So wrong.
It was the exact opposite, right? Like, we had the grit and grind to survive a regular season, and we were as bad as anybody in tournaments. Like, there really weren't teams much worse than us. We were that bad.
I mean,
all right, so it was 3 tournaments, right? It was the CCC, where Monterrey was obviously the better team. We could have won the first game. David Ruiz's red card kind of flipped that series upside down, and Messi didn't play that game. That's fine. Monterrey was a better team. Then it was Leagues Cup, where we were undermanned because Messi wasn't playing. We lost to Columbus, where Tata had the better strategy, and then he just didn't make enough subs after the 60th minute, and then Columbus kind of just came back. And the Atlanta, that was just mind-blowing. That was Brad Guzan, though.
Because, no. I will support Brad Guzan was by far the best player on the pitch in all 3 games. Like, that's unquestionable. But give credit to Tata for just horrible tactical guidance, horrible substitutions. You can't put this all on the fact that Guzan had a fantastic game. The reality is, Atlanta, leading up to that game, Atlanta, how many players from Atlanta's roster would even make our starting 11? Guzan would not make our starting 11. So,
yes,
no, over calendar on any given day?
Okay, but this wasn't any given day. Guzan
Danny,
was on compound V because
before-
he was playing
before-
out of his mind. That's fine. But
last year Atlanta
unfortunately-
didn't even want him.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
in sports, sometimes you have players that play out of their mind. Sometimes you
But
can
you
have an
can't be
NBA game, and then you can have somebody just go 9 for 9 from 3, and you're like, "Where the hell did this come from?" And
But
then
that's
you
what I'm
lose to
saying,
that
Danny.
guy.
My comment I'm making is before we had our first game of that series, you would not have chosen Guzan over Calendar. Yes,
Well,
afterwards.
I thought it was going to be a sweep. Obviously, we didn't think that Atlanta
Yeah.
would play good at all. I thought it was going to be a sweep.
So that team didn't even deserve to be on the pitch with us, and we lost. And it wasn't just because Guzan played great. It's because
Yes, it was.
Tata's
Yes, it
decision
was.
making.
We had
Tata's
25
decision
shots
making
to
was
their
horrible.
9. We kicked their ass as far as statistically and the way the game was played out. First game and the third game. The first game and the third game were almost identical. It's just
The
that
third
they
game- no.
Yes. It's just that Toto one fell to the ground and then everybody decided to stop playing on that third goal. And on the first goal, Toto and David Martinez got mixed up. They marked the same guy and left one guy open. But outside of those two plays where they scored those extra 2 goals, it was the same exact game as the first game.
And the first game we barely won.
I
That
know,
was not
and
In
what,
all
what
three
was,
games-
what was everybody saying after game 1? What was everybody saying? Wow, we should have won 5-1. We should have won 6-1. Was not everybody saying that? I know you guys didn't record after that, but I'm almost 100% sure if you would have
No,
recorded,
yeah, I
you would have
agree.
said that.
Yeah, we would have.
All right.
And the
then
second and third games, we
three-
didn't change
game three, same
tactics, and they
shit.
did.
Game 3, same shit. We had 25 shots to their 9.
Wait,
We
hold on.
dominated.
I got to back up.
Messi had
You're
7 shots on his own. Suarez
You're
had 7
saying
shots
your
on his
argument
own.
you're making is I want to take a calm step back. I'm being good tonight, guys. So far, I've kept my energy lower than 2 of the 4 people on the show. Like, so your argument is Tata's game plan was entirely solid all 3 games. It was just that they had the best goalkeeper apparently in the league, and that's why we lost.
Yes. And look, and I don't agree with the way he went about the third game. But he said after the game, he knew he was going to open himself up to the counter. But you know what he did? He did what you say all the time. Yeah, this team isn't built to defend. It's built to win 4-2. It's built to win 5-2. And that's what he went. He's like, you know what? I am going to open myself up to get scored on, but we're going to score more than them. But Brad Guzan didn't allow that. He said, sorry, you're not scoring 5 today. But they had 25 shots. Like
They didn't go in the net.
I understand. But we're talking about Tata himself. He set it up so that they were attack-minded and that they would score a lot. I get it. They didn't hit the back of the net.
But you
because
don't play
Brad Guzan
Gressel.
played
You
out of
don't. You
his
play
mind.
Kramaski over Gressel,
Yeah, that's awful.
and you call that a good decision.
Yeah. How
You play
does
a
Gressel
four-man.
not
Wait,
play
hold
at
on,
all?
hold on, Branton.
You
You
can't
play a
answer
4-man
that.
back line
If
that
you're gonna go
forces
4-man in
Alba
the
to play
back.
more defense.
If you're playing 4-man in the back, you can't go Gressel. Gressel doesn't defend.
Okay, fine. But then I'm going to another argument. You're playing a 4-man back line instead of a 5-man, which means Alba has to play more defense than he can normally play in attacking mode. Don't say we went for attacking formation. An attacking formation is a 5-man back line.
No, it's not. He went.
Absolutely
He
it
went.
is.
He
'Cause you
went.
defend with
Matias
3, not 4.
Rojas in the midfield. Matias Rojas with the top 3 already. Matias Rojas has no business being in the midfield. He went with Matias Rojas in the midfield because he wanted to attack. There was
If you
no
really want to
defense
attack, you
outside
got to
of
free up
Kirmaki.
Alba. You had to have Alba be a central part of the attack, which means he has to be abstained of defensive duties, which means you need a 3-man back line. And you didn't do that. There's no way you can look at that formation and say that was an attack-minded formation. It wasn't. It was
Of
a weird
course it was.
defensively
What do
minded
you
formation.
So what was
There
it?
was
It was
sometimes that
defensive-minded?
Redondo would come back. There was sometimes that Redondo would come back.
He was
and
playing
help.
center defensive mid. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that you saw that lineup and you thought that it wasn't attack-minded?
No, absolutely not. You can't. We've seen this team play 40+ games this season. A 4-man back line forces Alba to have a more defensive responsibilities than a 3-man back
He
line.
doesn't do it. He never does it.
Did you not watch the end of the game when he made one of the best track backs in the whole game? Because all of a sudden he was the last defender.
That's fine. But when has that ever prevented him from attacking? That's what I'm saying. When they play 4-man or 5-man, they started playing 5-man recently. When they played 4-man in the back,
They played
he still
5-man.
went and attacked all the
Whoa!
time.
They were playing 5-man in the preseason. How many times did Branton discuss in our show that
Preseason.
he wanted to play 5-man?
I meant games that mattered. He wanted to, but he didn't for a while. He
He
started
did,
that when?
he did as much as he could. And once Noah Allen became a good enough center back to support, it became more and more 5-man back line. Like a 5-man.
What?
I have no
You're telling me
idea
that
why
Noah Allen was the reason that they went to 5-man in the back?
he was
that
one
what
of
you're
the.
saying?
He all of a sudden had enough center
No,
backs to play.
Busquets. No,
Most of we
Busquets,
didn't
when
have
he
enough
started
center
playing-
backs.
When he started playing Busquets as center back is when they went to a 5-man in the back.
Again,
wasn't
I'm going to
Noah
say,
Allen.
why did we not play? But you needed Noah Allen because we didn't have enough center backs half the season to play 5-men back line.
David Martinez
You couldn't
wasn't
play
even
Busquets in the
100%.
back. And which is when my next statement is, how can you look at the substitution of Toto for Busquets, leaving Busquets on an island in the back, and call that an intelligent tactical decision? That was one of the worst subs he made the entire, because you can't have Busquets help the attack when he's also supposed to be a center back, a full-on sitting by himself 4-man backline center back.
How many goals did they give up?
I can't.
How many goals did they give up when Busquets got in the game and played that position?
How many goals did they score?
But how many did they give up?
No, how many did they score?
You're saying that it's poor tactically because they would have gotten scored on?
No, I'm saying it's poor tactically because you couldn't actually have him do the thing they wanted him to do, which was help set up the attack. Because he was forced now to stay in the back and play defense.
No, but he was forced to play center back there with David Martinez.
Yeah, but at that point, Atlanta was playing with 11 in the box, basically. Busquets was pushing up and assisting in that anyway.
No, but he wasn't
trying to get as many offensive weapons out there.
He wasn't being abstained of duties. We should have, again, I'm going to call it. When you brought out Busquets, Allen should have been with him, gone to a 5-man back line, let Busquets, let Allen and Martinez hold the back line by themselves as much as possible, and Busquets, Alba, and Cello all attacking.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Kerr says it right here. They didn't need to score after that sub. We needed to score.
To
attack. You're sitting our quarterback 20 yards away, taking a snap from the line of scrimmage.
I don't know if all of your viewers will get that, but that was a really great analogy.
Our defensive line, our back line was pushed up as high as possible. Busquets was basically up in almost the final third anyway because we were attacking.
This is a good point, though. Ash is saying it all boils down to coaching. Like, what are you doing bringing Ben Krem on? And no shade Ben Krem, but like offensively, Gressel is better. And if you're saying that they're in an offensive-minded sort of setup, then I'm throwing Gressel in for Ben Krem all day. Go ahead, Branton.
No, because Chris, like you and I kind of talked about this in our chat. Like, one of the problems that this series showed was that when you put good talent around Messi, not elite talent, but good talent around Messi, players have a tendency to play too Messi. Ben Kromoski and Gomez are two players who do it all the time. Instead of shooting the ball when they have a decent look, they pass it to Messi, and then Messi takes one of the 25 low-quality shots that Danny was just referencing. But Rojas is not afraid to shoot the goddamn ball. He doesn't care if Messi's there. He's going to shoot it. Gressel showed early in the season he was not afraid to shoot if he had the ball. Those were two guys that I thought should have been on the field to start this game. Kromoski has been great when he's come in, but I don't like how he just disappears when Messi's there. He just he gets in front of goal and he's in a position where we've seen him score and he passes back to Messi, who's got 3 guys on him. And then Messi takes a shot. It counts in the stats, but there's no way in hell it was ever going in. Like, the stats favor us, yeah. But when you watch the game, like, you see there's a lot of moments where players just don't make the right decision. And
when you were watching that
some
game,
of that boils down to coaching.
All those Brad Guzan saves that he had, at no point did you think to yourself, how the hell does this guy keep doing it? Because half of those should have been in the back of the net.
Absolutely. And when we did the watch along, I told you the guy's been playing on his head. He's been playing crazy. And, you know, sometimes you run into a keeper who does that. But at the same time, if you look at every one of the shots that he stopped, not all of them were world-beating saves. A lot of them were right to him or were easy saves for him. Yes, he made some incredible saves. You can't take away that he was the best player in this series. You can't take that away from him.
He was lights out. He was lights out.
There's several opportunities where we had a higher quality shot and we passed back into a low quality shot. And that's the problem. At this point in the season, Tata, the coaching staff, they have to have beaten this out of them, out of the younger players. Don't pass back to Messi. Take your shots.
And then let me be real clear with this dumbass Mike V. Look, at no point did I say he did a good job. I'm just saying everybody is shitting on Tata, saying that it's his fault. yes, maybe he could have done better. I would have preferred him coming out with a 5-man back line. I would have much preferred that. But what he decided to do and what he said afterwards, what I wanted to be attack-minded, and I knew that I was going to open myself in the back, it would have worked if Guzan didn't block so many shots. And nobody here would be like, oh, my God, I thought that this is such a horrible job.
You can't, would have,
yes, I can. Yes, I can.
No,
because Guzan made some incredible blocks. If the same shit we said for game 1, we would say for game 3. The same shit. It's just that they didn't hit the back of the net. But as far as him, his game plan would have worked.
But that's the whole thing in a multi-game series. That goes out the window. Yeah, one game it happens. But after the first game, they had 2 weeks to say, how the hell do we get around Guzan? What do we need to do differently from a passing perspective, shooting perspective, shoot from the outside, inside? And we did the same thing. Your argument is that basically the same thing happened twice. But lightning doesn't strike twice.
You know what? And I would have never thought that Guzan would have a game like that again. You know where I think that the difference was between game 1 and game 3? And maybe maybe I'm making too much of it, but I think that we missed Yannick Bright more than anybody will say, just because he's not a big
Frey
name.
Too.
But he didn't play the game.
But that
I think when Frey went down, you saw the mentality of the team change. I think that was a big loss.
I'm going to mention to you the start. I was just looking at the starting lineup for game 1.
Hold on. Right? This is exactly what I'm saying. Yes, he did. He did the same thing game 1. I literally said game 1 and game 3 were almost identical.
But can we highlight the one above that? Takeaways, testosterone is how you get around Guzan. And I actually agree with this so much, because how many times on these shows have I called out the emotional immaturity of Inter Miami and the stupid ass shit we do? And when you threw Guzan into the net, did we expect he was going to back down or expect him to play even better? Okay, super great look, and I love seeing it, but it only made him stronger. It only made him better. It was that kind of shit is the stuff the coaches are supposed to handle. Do not get Guzan going. He plays better when he's angry. And he showed it in game 1. He showed it in game 2 after his stupid ass moment when nothing else went in the net, by the way, after he gave up whatever that thing was. And game 3 was the same. You can't piss the guy off. He just got better.
I want to mention, because before I open up the whole idea of the starting lineup in the first game, Cheka is asking, are we talking about Yannick? Really? Yes, we're talking about Yannick.
Danny, there was a stat.
There was a stat that you mentioned that the first game and a half.
Drive Pink dialogue. Right? Drive Pink dialogue put it out there. In the first game and a half, right? So game 1 and the first half of of game 2, Yannick Bright played. He got injured in that first half. Atlanta scored, was it 1 goal or no goals? 1 goal. They scored 1 goal. And then the second half of the second game, and then the third game, they ended up scoring 5 in those game and a half where Yannick Bright was missing.
What did you say that with your accounting background, like something it's not causation? Could it also be that without Yannick Bright, they figured us out better? They better saw through Takta's tactics, and they understood how to defeat us. Yeah, losing Bright is a part of that, but part of it is Tata got out coached. They made adjustments. They made 5 subs in the third game. We made 3.
You're obsessed with subs.
Because subs are a huge part of the game. That's the
most impact a manager can have on a
huge step back.
That's the only impact that they can have outside of the original tactics.
Right. So if you're not making subs if you're on a regular basis choosing not to make subs, and that those choices are having a negative impact on the game, that is a quality or lack of quality on a manager.
Look at this guy. LAFC. Who else is here to watch Miami fans cry? Get out of here, guy. Get out of here.
We're not crying.
We're
drinking.
Get out at the end.
Join us for a drink.
No, that's awesome. I like that.
I do want to go over the starting lineup, because like when I'm looking at it, right, Busquets was there, Yannick Bright started, Redondo started. I mean, those are critical pieces right there. That was in game 1. And game 1 was our most successful game, obviously, because we won that damn game. Game 2, we had essentially sort of the starting line. Well, kind of, because Noah Allen started that game. So there we had Yannick Bright and Redondo, but the only reason that Allen started that game was because Busquets was out.
Mm-hmm.
But we started with Bright. I mean, like you said, the downfall happened as soon as Bright got injured. So, I mean, for as much as people are looking at us and saying, you guys are complaining because Yannick Bright was the difference maker. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, a guy that just literally came off the bench out of pure necessity, unfortunately became one of the biggest cogs that this team needed in order to be successful.
But doesn't that also say
the coach needs to make an adjustment?
Yeah, like when your entire basis is the former college kid who's probably supposed to play for IMCF2 for at least another year, just saved your season and helped you get it. There's an element of luck. I know Danny has fought me on the phrase luck before this season, but this is where I go. What happened to Dixon Arroyo? We had another CDM. We sold him. Like that was a Tata decision. Does that affect if we had Dixon Arroyo this season? Would this have we avoided this? It's a fair question.
We would have never met Yannick Bright.
Don't know. Remember, Yannick Bright was a draftee, so they're free. So if we liked him, we can get him regardless.
No, but I'm just saying we would have never met him because he wouldn't have gotten playing time over Dixon Arroyo.
You can't discount that.
Okay, I accept that as a fair statement. But when you choose not to really pretend that Busquets is a CDM, and then have no other CDM to really back up when Bright goes down, that's a coaching decision. Coaches are responsible for this roster.
Technically, it's Busquets that's the CDM, and then it's Redondo after him. Redondo was brought in here to be that double pivot guy, if anything.
Then why did we bring in Bright after Redondo?
It was because it was injuries. Remember,
Bright was on this team before Redondo.
No, but Redondo came in because he got drafted. I'm just saying he got his opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. I was thinking Redondo came in. Redondo came in the offseason. Redondo came in afterwards.
He came in during the season and then he got injured.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't even know if we got an answer from everybody. Failure. I believe Mike said no, and Brandon said yes, which I wasn't expecting that. Chris, failure. Yes or no?
It's I'd have to say no. I don't think that it was a failure because it just so happened that key pieces went down. As far as Tata, we'll get into the conversation there. I think as a team, it wasn't a failure per se because we did get better. We essentially finished best that we've ever could finish ever, right? Best record in terms of like MLS with the most points. Mm-hmm. I can't take that away. There's no way you can be able to say that it was a failure because of that. I mean, when we have the Tata conversation, it might be a little different.
I think just based off of expectations going into the season, it is a failure. And if we would have made it to the semifinals, the conference finals, the final, and get eliminated in a one game, and I've been on here saying it and preaching it for a month or two. If we don't win the MLS Cup, you can't say it's a failure because anything can happen in a single elimination game. Mm-hmm. But to lose in a series, 2 out of 3 to the 9th place team, I'm sorry, it's an utter disgrace. It's not even a failure; it's a disgrace.
I bet if we had asked our fans who answers this question before the show, they would have had very different expectations.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's why I prefaced it by saying, when it comes to expectations. Now, when I try to take a step back as a fan of the team from the start, which a lot of us are, I mean, you really haven't seen much success the first couple of years, and all of a sudden, we went a whole regular season and only watched 4 losses the whole regular season. I mean, it's a big jump. So just strictly on an enjoyable fan base, like just watching it and enjoying them win week in and week out, especially during that summer where we thought that they would eventually drop some points. Based off of that, I wouldn't say failure as a fan, but just taking a step back and looking at it overall, expectation-wise, it's not a failure. It's a disgrace.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree with that.
It's a D for disgrace. So you agreed with me. It's a D.
There you go.
Failing grade. We failed.
Look at Danny and I are on the same page on the first answer.
Yeah. 100%.
It took us 29 minutes to get there, but we got there.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean the next topic, which is the AKA the Mike V campaign, right? With his torches, and posse standing outside and pitchforks outside of Chase Stadium. Tata out or Tata in? I mean, I don't even know where to go first. Do you want to go first, Danny, or should we toss it over to?
Well, I would look. No, we can go to Mike first, but just I want to say this real quick. I used to give Mike and Mike V a lot of crap for saying this because I felt like they said it, and they said it in a way that I thought it was over the top, in my opinion, because I felt like they were winning games and you kept saying Tata out anyway. I thought it was stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
But
you had to write it though.
But yeah, no, and they did. But the way that we got booted out, I think at that point, that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm okay having the conversation. Because after a collapse like that, then the conversation should be had. You can't have a collapse like that and not even visit the theme.
Well, Danny, before we pass it over to Mike, we do have Upside Down with Kris Super Slam here. So he's saying that Tata has no plan B. We need to play much more direct. Short passing won't work with this team. Need a new striker and defense and a left wing and definitely a new coach. I mean, we need a whole team by what Upside Down with this. Suarez should not play full 90. I don't know where this whole striker deal is. Like Magic.
Where's Upside Down with Kris from? What kind of is that? Yen? What is that?
I don't know, dude. I'm not even gonna try to guess. You're asking a question that I am not comfortable enough to answer.
All right. Shout out to Upside Down with Kris.
Yeah, he the good thing is he spells his name the right way, right? Mm-hmm. But aside from that, I don't know, man. What do you think, Mike V? I mean, what do you think, Mike? Tata out or Tata? I mean, look, Mike V's
They're one and the same. They're one and the same.
So we're gonna get
alter
here.
Ego.
I do have to comment. So Mez keeps on posting. I think they posted 3 times that Toto's fault for the 3rd goal. The ref should have stopped play. There is no league in the world where the refs stop play and an attacking moment. It was insane. Messi in a previous game kicked the ball over a guy lying on the field and we scored. Tata's comment that in the first game that we did it for them, we stopped in our own half of the field in attack. So, like, sorry, I just had to say, like, let's not even have this conversation. There was no reason for them attack to stop. I think Toto was really injured, so if he went down, he went down. But don't make it like the ref cost us that. Not on. So sorry, I ranted. Go back. Now let's
no, that's fine.
Mike V
and I agree with you because the players should be marking their man instead of trying to find where the ref is.
Yeah. So the team gave up, and that was disgusting. It was disgusting and poorly led, which gets me to a point. Mike V, I'm going to make it up to you right now. Tata was a failure as a coach this year. He was brought in to win 4 trophies this year. That was his job. It was stated by him in his own words. His only cared about MLS Cup. We got bounced in the first round of this tournament. We got bounced in the second round of CCC. We got bounced in the 3rd round of Leagues Cup. When your job is not to develop players. You know, Jim Curtin just got fired because he wanted to win more than develop players. I don't want Jim Curtin for this job, but I want that mentality. And Tata did not show the mentality. His tactical.
You want what mentality?
Winning above all else.
Oh.
Tata did not ever have good tactical adjustments. I've been saying this for months. His substitution patterns were horrible. Even in the 3rd game, his substitutions made no sense. His lineup in the 3rd game made sense to him, and I know, Danny, it seems to have made sense to you. I think the majority of
his explanation made sense to me.
Okay. The majority of the IMCS fan base, it made no sense to. And the fact is, we are not going to get demonstratively better as a team going to next season. There's only so many moves we can make in the offseason. He's going to have basically the same team again. And he's done nothing to prove to me that he can win in tournament play with this team as the coach. And if his job is to win games now and next season, because these are the only 2 seasons that matter for winning trophies, I do think Messi comes back in 26, but I do not think we're nearly as capable a team. We need new blood. You need to make changes. It's a lot easier. I said on Drive Pink Dialogues last night, it's a lot easier to change the coach than it is to change the whole team. So Tata has to be out because I don't see how it's not more of the same next year. Yeah, maybe we have a great another Shield run, but right now Tata has not shown he can win a single trophy in a tournament style setting with as coach.
Who's a good coach in the MLS to you?
That's what I was going to get
coach.
to.
Oh God, don't get into this.
But I'm asking.
We're going to get into the dirt here.
There's no coach in MLS that can take on this team.
But my question is, what do you consider a good coach in the MLS?
So what is he going to do?
Nancy.
Magic John.
Okay. Is that it?
Jim Curtin, I think, is a fantastic coach. I think got screwed by his ownership.
All right.
Ben Olsen. Steve Cherundolo.
Okay.
All these guys have tournament wins.
Okay.
But I'm making it clear.
So
none of these guys would have coached this team.
Technically, yes. And he also won the MLS Cup with Atlanta.
That's fine. But we're not talking about that. So it's Miami. Has he not won a tournament?
He won one tournament, and as you said, on a golden
run. How many has Nancy won over the last year? 2. Okay. And then Cherundolo? Won 1
2.
Open Cup.
2.
What are the?
You're just going to ignore the fact he won MLS Cup 2 years ago?
No, I said over the last year. My
Danny,
point
you're picking and choosing stats to make your argument. I didn't even bring stats into this thing, but you want to. You're picking and choosing and let you yell at me for doing.
My point is that even the best coaches don't win every single tournament.
Whoa. This isn't about not winning. This is exiting every single one in a disgrace. We were up 2-0 on Columbus and fell down because of bad tactical decision making. We did not even compete against Monterrey. Yes, we can blame Toto for his, or not Toto. Who had the Ruiz for his ill-advised rest.
Monterrey was just a better team than we were. I truly believe. We did.
And by the way,
Columbus won the first game.
Columbus beat Monterrey. Hold on. Columbus beat Monterrey in Monterrey. We beat Columbus in Columbus.
That doesn't matter. So, to Pachuca, and didn't we beat Columbus twice this year?
That's my argument. That's my argument. That Columbus
who cares if they beat Monterrey? Who cares? We beat Columbus. What I'm saying,
don't say Monterrey was better. We a better led team could have beat. We had every bit the roster they had. It came down to coaching yet again.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You can't make an argument that Tata did anything.
You said Tata doesn't win tournaments, and he won a tournament a year ago.
That was a year ago against a completely different MLS and a brand new team that hadn't seen none of these opposing teams had seen Messi in tournaments yet. And by the way, I know you don't like to hear it. We had a little bit of luck in that tournament too. Things kind of fell our way on a regular basis. It's good to have luck. Every great sports team has had a little bit of luck. Name any moment for your favorite sports team. You go, man, that was a lucky catch. Man, that was amazing. You make your own luck. That tournament, we made our luck. But that luck has evaporated in tournament play since then.
Jack is bringing a good point, Danny.
Look, Brad Guzan is going to be the death of Tata Martino because everybody's going to point to this, and even I will, because he shouldn't have lost this series.
But hold on. Again, I'm going to say this. I have been very consistent. After the CCC fell, I think it was the CCC one I got on your show and I went off, or was the Leagues Cup one? Like this has been consistent failing from him in tournament play. This Guzan is just another example. By the way, remember, this is the 4th tournament.
Mike, let's be real.
We've lost with him.
We spoke at the beginning of the year, and you said that he couldn't win with Messi. You were like, oh, he wins like 2% of the games without Messi. Then the summer came. You're like, you know what? I was wrong. Like, this is what happens. He'll win a tournament. Just look.
You're willing to bet. You're willing to bet your whole next season and your season tickets and all the money you invest into him winning another tournament. Like you're comfortable with that statement.
Look, this is what
I'm
going to say. This is what I'm going to say. And then I'm sorry, Brian, because I haven't let you speak. I'm sorry. But just real quick.
I'm just eating my popcorn.
No, that's my fault. I know. I wanted us to be quiet a lot this podcast. But just real quick.
Danny loves the debate. He loves the smoke.
I understand that why people want that out, because he didn't get the job, especially against Atlanta. Like that's why I'm like, you know what? This conversation makes sense because this is a disgrace. But in the situation we're in with the current roster, I think it's lazy when people just say, we need another coach. What other coach would you bring onto this team into this situation? Because there aren't many.
There's not many. No, I agree. And unfortunately, my leading candidate got hired 3 months ago, which is Pochettino.
Come on, man. He wouldn't have worked on this team.
Why not? He's perfect for the team.
No, he's not.
Experience with the players. He speaks multiple languages. Like this has been a great.
and I don't mean to say as a smartass. This is a serious question. Have you seen his teams play? Because
Yeah.
Mike's
way
a
he
Chelsea
plays-
fan. He's very
Oh,
familiar.
okay. So there you go. Last year, right? 2023. He is all about the high press, high intensity press. Who the hell is he going to press with? Messi and Suarez? You can't expect that from Messi and Suarez. He would have had to completely change the way he plays his game.
Yeah.
And we don't know if
But
that's
he could have
gonna
coached.
work.
He could have coached it and made it work. And against MLS, by
That's
the way,
who?
he would
That's
instantly
who?
be. He would be instantly be the best manager in MLS. Always ask questions. Who's the best manager? Pochettino coming into this league would be instantly the best manager in MLS. You don't think he could figure out how to win with Messi and Suarez in this league?
Pochettino's another one that doesn't win tournaments. When does he win a tournament?
That's fair. I'm gonna have to go look now if you ever won a tournament, but
and-
I'll trust you on the statement.
Maybe the Spanish Super Cup, and one of those stupid tournaments that they have. I guess.
Whoa! You can't call Spanish Super Cup stupid and then hold up League's Cup as a like it's simple. Like one way or the other on that one.
If it were up to me, I would get rid of all tournaments that happen throughout the season. Give me just one champion. That
Fair
would
enough.
be mine.
But I'm just saying you can't choose one and not the other.
And then when you really look at Tata Martino, and I know that we don't care about the past, but when you look at him, like people don't realize as far as coaching, like he took a Paraguay team. Like who the hell has ever heard of Paraguay outside of people that watch Conmebol? He took that team to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. He took them to the final of Copa America. Like he did things in the coaching stratosphere that were very impressive. He is a good coach historically.
He was also run out of his last job, run out of the job before that.
Wait. Are you talking about Mexico?
Mexico and Atlanta United.
Atlanta United, he chose to leave to take the Mexico job. His last game, I believe, was the championship game. Now, the whole Mexico thing, like I get it. It didn't go well, but Mexico sucks. Like
let me say this fairly.
Let me be honest. Also is poor. Like Mexico, it just has no players anymore.
Let me be an honest soul. I'm going to be very honest right now. Last night when I was talking to Scotty Gray, he asked the comment when Tata was coming in, was I excited? 100%. When I looked at his resume, was I excited? 100%. I'm not going to argue that I wasn't excited for this. But what he's did at his past job doesn't necessarily mean he's doing at his current job. And the fact is, we have undeniably
Pochettino here for what he did in the past.
I want Pochettino because I think he can speak Spanish and handle Messi and work with the players on my team.
How did he handle him in PSG? He didn't handle them very well in PSG.
I think he can.
Upside Down with Kris doesn't agree with you with this super slam there, Danny. So Upside Down with Kris here with a super slam. And there's a beautiful signature of Robbie Robinson. I mean, not Robbie Robinson. What am I talking about? Robbie Taylor. He's gonna be shipped out like in 5 minutes. Upside Down with Kris says, from India, trying to think outside the box, get a coach from Argentina or Brazil. Tata out, trophy won because of lack and last minute winners.
Where'd you get this image?
Klopp.
Where'd you get that image?
It's
oh my god, I just realized where it's from.
You know where it's from, but it's a source that I don't want to release.
That's my playing card. Like that was my card in that picture.
Just real quick, and then I'll shut up for the rest of the show. Tata Fields went without a trophy with Barca and immediately was fired. Yes, he ended up losing the title on, I believe, the last day of the season to Atletico Madrid, and then he left after one season.
So, but Danny, I go back to my question. So I'm Tata out. I'm throwing it to you. Are you comfortable giving him the reins for another year of this team, and you believe he'll bring us a trophy? Yeah, tournament trophy.
Yes, but I am open to the idea that if you can find me a better candidate, I am okay with a change, just because I think that when in any sport, when you have a disaster like happened right here in the first round, I think that is losing your job worthy. So, but I don't think he did a horrible job all season long. And if you cannot find me a candidate that I feel is better, then no, I think that we might as well just keep him, because I mean, the regular season we kicked ass. Like, I know a lot of people talk about the defense. Look, I'm going on again. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Branton. I'm sorry. I can keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, I'm enjoying it. But yeah, like teams that would do really well in the regular season and fail in the postseason is something Danny's very familiar with the Yankees. So I get why he's so passionate about this.
Look at this one.
Listen, Marlins are like Atlanta United, shouldn't even be in the postseason, but maybe they do something. So
That's how they've done it.
But anyway, no, listen, I've been pretty consistent. I'm not a Tata fan. I haven't been. I think with Tata's resume, you're absolutely right, Danny. He did all those great things with Paraguay. He's won trophies everywhere he's gone. The problem is the tactics are the same. I don't think Tata has grown into the modern game. And I think that's the problem. I think tactically, I've been saying it all season, he was going to do something that cost us something. I was hoping it wasn't the playoffs. I was hoping it maybe cost us a shield or cost us the points record, whatever. But tactically, you should not have a coach that you're worried about as being a liability with this roster. And so, while let's be very real here, we are most likely going into next season with Tata. I don't think there's an alternative out there unless somebody can convince Xavi to come here, because there are very few coaches that can handle Messi. That's the problem. If Messi wasn't on this team, hell yeah, you could go out and find a coach that could coach his team better.
I think if Messi wasn't on this team, Tata would probably be showing the door.
Well, Tata wouldn't even have come, but yeah.
Well,
if
I think
Messi
both those
wasn't on this team, for sure.
I just got to real quick say, I have people behind the scenes now messaging me Tata stats about what he's done to argue. So I just have to want to say, just Danny, you mentioned Paraguay. His winning percentage at Paraguay was only 38.57%. So
okay,
you might
and then
He's got a crack staff, Danny.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't need a team. So just so you know, Paraguay is historically one of the worst teams in South America. So with that winning percentage in a tournament that you say he does poorly in, still managed with a poor team, which he could only win 38% of his games with, because that's how bad that team was in a tournament, made it to the World Cup quarterfinal and made it to the final of Copa America where they lost to Uruguay.
And if he did,
that's how bad his teams are. But in a tournament setting, which you say he cannot do well in, managed to take this little shitty team.
Hold on.
And in
Let's
the
be
world
clear.
stage, take him
Wait,
to
hold
the
on.
quarterfinal.
You said something that's not what I said. Inter Miami, in the 6 tournaments he's been in, has been successful in 1 and failed the other 5. So, or was it 4? If he's been in 5, he's failed in 4. So I'm specifically stating at this club, his winning percentage in tournaments is 20%.
There's the math, Danny. Break that up.
Now,
how about that?
If you make it to the final, it's still not considered.
If you make it to the finals when he started in the semifinal, you only had to win 1 game, the U.S. Open Cup. Like, I don't think you count that one as a successful tournament for him.
Then don't count it as a tournament at all. Then
that's like 5%, Danny.
You don't count it as a tournament.
That's true. That is true. In your eyes, that
I'm
tournament
the
doesn't
only
count
one
anyway.
on this show that counts the Open Cup as a tournament.
So 4 tournaments.
You only had to win 2 games in that tournament, and we won 1. We would have had Tata would now have 3 trophies if we had won that game. And I cannot tell you how that game, that damn Houston Dynamo song, will always be the worst music I've ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah, it is. It's absolutely awful. It's absolutely awful. That I have nightmares with that Mike Jones song in the background. You think I'm joking, Danny? You like Mike Jones? Mike Jones.
Chris,
I think that the conversation of Tata in or Tata out is just it's I don't want to say it's a dumb one to have, because he's not going to go anywhere. We're still going to keep him for another year. So
I'm going to say this. The look on, I don't know if you guys saw from your seats. You guys were both, Chris, you were at the game and Danny wasn't.
Yeah.
So Chris, could you see the Moss brothers during that game?
Yes.
The look of abject disgust.
Yeah, there
on
were
those guys' face.
Yeah,
is the only reason I actually do think Tata might be fired, because I've had the pleasure of watching those guys many times at many games. I've never seen the disgust and anger they had in that match. And I'm pretty sure the owner of Atlanta was in the box with them, was not making it better.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about, I can't imagine they haven't crossed their mind. I do agree with Danny and Branton, though. It has to be the right guy. We're not just firing him to grab some random schmo. But the question is,
but that's ultimately my question to you, is who then? Because I understand, like, it's like, man, it's so annoying when I see people and they're like, all right, just get a better coach, or they should have changed something. What should they have changed? I don't know, something. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, Xavi's free, right? Like he's unsigned.
Xavi, I would be okay with.
Yeah.
Xavi,
and Raul has connections all over La Liga. Like
now,
there are
the
names these guys are going to come up with that we won't think of.
Sanlehi, that's a great point. Now, this is my only thing with Xavi. In Xavi's system, you need a great midfield. Because your left back is basically going to be your left wing. Jordi Alba, he did it with Xavi, right, while he was in Barcelona, and he'll do it now. He's going to dominate. So whoever's on that left mid side is basically going to play the center of the field, and they're gonna make that box that they like to make, right? That tiki-taka box, and they're going to dominate in the midfield. But do we have the midfield to do that? Because you could have all the greatest tactics in the world, but if you don't have the midfield to do that, like I love Yannick Bright defensively, but I don't know if he's going to be that guy next to Busquets like Frankie de Jong was controlling the midfield. I don't know if Yannick Bright can do all that stuff. Now, I know it's the MLS and MLS competition, but I mean, the way Xavi was running Barcelona, I don't know if he could do that with these players here.
It's a good point. I mean, I think the other thing is I think the players that are here, I think after this loss, what we're more likely to see is player and roster turnover than we are to see a change at the coach. You know, I don't think the big names are not going anywhere. If Suarez decides he wants to come back next season, there's no way that anybody on this team is saying no.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I do think that there are other players on this team that we can start seeing turnover and start bringing in people. And if we do make a change at the coach, then we can probably bring somebody in for the midfield role.
I should have worn my Devils shirt.
Hey, Mike V, there's some people on Twitter who'd love to have a talk with you on that comment. Just saying, leaving that at that. I as passionate I am as Tata out, I recognize us arguing about it. So I think Danny and Kris' comment, it is kind of stupid because we have absolutely no say in it. Just like I said about 4 months ago on your show, I am going to keep on saying this because in the end of the day, I will be vindicated. Like, I am as big a fan. I sat in that parking lot Saturday night till midnight. The cops were circling us, but they kick us out within 30 minutes after every game. That game, they let us go for 2 hours, drinking and drinking our despair because they felt so bad for us and how frustrated we are. So I would love to win, but if he sticks around, you'll notice my belief flag is gone. Unless something changes, I don't have a lot of belief right now. Like, they haven't shown that ability in tournament play.
Mike, in the beginning of the summer, you said that if he wins the Supporter Shield, you'll give him another year. And not that you have the final decision, but like mentally, you're like, I'm good with him for another year if he wins the Supporter Shield. That came out of your mouth.
I thought I said give him credit, but I think it's the same way, Danny. Like, before he blew a 3-game series to Atlanta, that no one imagined that to be possible.
that changed my stance also.
So I think
that changed my stance. Yeah,
and that, like, if he had made it to the semifinals, and I think I said this on our show, if he made it to the finals, the semifinals, maybe get bounced in the quarterfinal, like the next game, but it was a tough match against a Cincinnati or Columbus, I can't make this argument. I've lost, and it's what I said on our show. I've lost the ability to have the conversation. But when you get bounced, and it wasn't even competitive, I don't think – I know you thought it was going to be a blowout, but when we went into that third game, Branton and I were both on the same page. We expected to lose. We had hopes.
Man, I was sitting on my white couch surrounded by Atlanta fans on the watch-along. I was ready to talk so much shit.
Hey, you threw me off.
Because
I'm sorry. I was prepared to lose that match. 100%. Well, I thought I was prepared, and then it turns out I wasn't prepared at all because this hurt me as bad as any sporting event loss. Honestly, the 2001 Tennessee UF game where we lost in the Ben Griffin, that one probably hit me just as hard as this one. But I was in near tears on Saturday night. So I That was just so bad because we weren't competitive. We have the best. Again, I'm going back to the statement. There was maybe 2 guys on their team that could start on our team at the beginning of that series, and yet they beat us, and they beat us, I think, convincingly.
I want to go around with this question because I don't think a lot of people have put a lot of thought into this. And Mike, you brought up a good comment about the Moss brothers and how pissed and disappointed they looked. Marasovic is here saying, as much of a sporting failure this was it a business failure? I'm going to tell you, in reality,
depends. What are you talking about?
It wasn't, but to see that they got knocked out in the first round, I mean, that face of disappointment, Mike, it wasn't just we didn't surpass this team in the playoffs. It's the amount of money that they lost in the future just getting to the championship and winning the championship. No?
I don't think, I mean, you lost 3 games of ticket revenue, and so it comes with that. I will throw in speech because I actually think I agree with you. The Messi fatigue has started to sit in. I can tell you, me and the people around us have struggled to sell tickets the last few games.
Yeah.
And so I think without that trophy, that fatigue is going to get worse. And you kind of saw it we haven't brought up what the announcement today is, but here we're all still mourning the loss, and the club is sending out an email. Pre-sale starts right now for our first preseason game. I know Danny's looking like I don't know if you saw that email.
No,
but,
yeah, I was going to bring this up. Did you see the prices?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw $29 tickets, which made me happy. The cheapest tickets were affordable, but this is fatigue is setting. So, Kris, to your point, I do think there's an impact here by not winning, and it probably does go. Maybe it actually does go beyond my previous comment of box receipts, because I think it has an impact. And when you start saying the words MFP, if you don't have those trophies, MFP with Messi fatigue being a thing, does it sell out?
I don't know, man. Then that lends credence to what everybody likes to say across the MLS, that we're plastic fans. I think you should be showing up anyway.
Yeah.
I think the club's going to milk us so much that we're not going to be able to afford to show up.
Us 4 people will show up, right? We will show up. But half the fans on any given Saturday right now are not there to watch Inter Miami.
That sucks.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong, but that's my way of looking at it.
I hope that it's a little better than that, and I hope that it's gotten better than that. I know a lot of people here in the chat would show up.
I think it's gotten worse.
I get what you're saying, though. I think it's gotten worse in the aspect that they've turned away some people. They turned off some people. But I think the bulk of the fan base is still going.
I am very jaded, and I will not deny my jade and my bias and some of the shit I've had to see in my area. But we saw it even in his first game, the Messi fans, the famous IMCF Traveler video. We still see it in games when we're losing 3-2 and there's Messi cheers going around the stadium because he touched the ball. Yeah. I think that example, actually more so than anything else, shows how much of the stadium is still just to see the greatest player of all time. I don't want to take that away, but I think that's a common. I know the plastic question has been said a lot, and I think that's derogatory. But the question of will these people stay once Messi leaves, I do think is being shown to be answer of no. I'm trying to figure out how to word that.
Well, you know what? And I think that's what Kris was saying. I think that is where the business takes a hit. Because I think if you give people a reason to celebrate a championship and they have fun, this is a good team, we're winning championships. Messi leaves, but supposedly we're getting Neymar. We got a good team. We might win another. I think that helps people stay. But if we're going to be bowing out,
casuals,
right? If we're bowing out in the first round with Messi, people are going to be like, "Oh, this team sucks."
I think another thing, you bring up the business aspect of it, and I think this loss will have ramifications when it comes time to talk about. I won't renew next year. When it comes time for Apple to be like, hey, are we going to re-up this agreement?
That's in 10 years, though, isn't it?
From what I have heard, there are opt-outs.
Okay.
And I've said this from the time they announced this deal. I expect once a bigger fish comes along that Apple can poach and use what they learned in MLS, I expect them to drop MLS. But this just gives them more reason because the viewership numbers that they're probably expecting, and I'm sure are probably in the contract, probably are not going to happen for the postseason now.
No.
Can I throw out one other business issue? We started, to your point of like, what about the Leagues Cup? We were the only team in Leagues Cup that showed up with ringers, right? Like no one had done it before. And then you saw last year Ricky come into LA Galaxy, and now LAFC is going on a spending spree with Hugo and what's his name? The strike. I can't think. How am I not remembering the striker's name? Griezmann. So like Chicago, the rumor is they're going to start spending big. Atlanta, the rumor is they're going to start spending big and get more competitive. Like the window that where parity has been killed is very quickly closing. By end of next season, I think you're going to see a couple more teams have gone the full distance of bringing in these little players. Like San Diego was with CDB. Like it's very short window for Inter Miami to take advantage as the first consumer, and I think that's another where, you know, we made the comment that Tata, whoever's coaching, has another year with this team, but next year is going to be harder. This was the easiest year to win with this team. This was going to be the least competitive MLS this team was ever going to see. And yeah, it's going to be that much harder next season. And so now you're asking Tata to win harder tournaments when he struggled to win the easy ones. He struggled to be competitive in the easy ones.
Oof, that's a statement. No, he's got a point. Danny, we got a couple.
That's such a stupid statement.
Danny, we got a couple super slams. Upside down with Kris. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for the support. And then we got Alejandro. Said they might loan Messi back to Europe for a short term. Is a rumor in the streets.
That is a horrible rumor. Now.
Beckham style.
Also, I just have to say, because someone keeps on pinging me, 2 trophy opportunities is just not acceptable if I was an Inter Miami owner or stakeholder. So now they can stop pinging me because I've said it on the show.
That's fine. But then what do you want them to do? Like, what's the alternative? That's my question. Again, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? If we move on, we move on. That's fine, because that's unacceptable what just happened. But it has to be somebody that's better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think
that's my own.
And here's the other piece, and I said this on the other show last night. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. There could already be a coaching search. Contracts could be signed, both by Tata or a new coach. Like, so
this was
the
so
good news I'll
unexpected
throw here
from
is
everybody. I don't think anybody has anything pre-planned. Everybody was like, we don't have to worry about this for another 4 weeks.
I don't think that's 100% true. Remember,
yes,
Tata was on the hot seat coming into this season. It was stated on multiple occasions. Now, Danny, I know you thought that was bullshit. You stayed so many times, but there was plenty of people saying so. I do not think for a second Raul doesn't have some coaching candidates on a board. Contract signed, probably not, but I suspect overtures had been made throughout the season. Conversations were informally had. And now you see how serious those conversations are.
When you have a LeBron James,
there's no way he has
Jordan, a Messi, you have to bring in a big name. It's the only time that you can't tell me that he has names on the board that nobody's ever heard of. You can't bring.
I don't think there's a board.
I said no. I didn't say we hadn't heard of them. Sorry, I did not mean to imply we hadn't heard them.
Okay.
I mean to imply we haven't heard those conversations happened.
Okay, but who's available right now? That's
define available. Everyone's available for the right price.
No way. Pep, and I know I'm not saying Pep is an option, but I'm saying Pep isn't leaving Man City in December or in January. Like, that's not happening.
I don't think Pep's coming further to agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know, but I'm saying, like,
no, but everyone has a price, so that's a part of it, right? Like,
Xavi's the only option, I think.
If we wanted Pep bad enough, we don't. I don't want to start, but if we wanted Pep bad enough, and the Moss Bros go, I'll give you 20 million, come coach us. That's a conversation someone's going to have.
Branton, if we had a better defense, does this season end up differently?
No.
Okay.
Because tactically, we were never set up to be a defensive team. I don't think Tata was ever going to set up defensively. And I also think that when you look historically in MLS, the teams that set up a strong defense where you know the defenders' names, where you can name every center back, you can name the keeper, those are the teams that are going home early in the playoffs, just like we did, or they're not even making the playoffs. In MLS, you don't invest in defense. With the salary cap the way it is and the spending the way it is, if you want to go out and buy better center backs, you got to get rid of some people. And if we get rid of 3 TAM midfielders to bring in 2 new center backs and a new keeper, that doesn't really help us win, I don't think.
Well, and that gets into the next topic: who needs to go and who stays. Like,
Can we stay on this one though, real quick, before we jump to the next one?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just going to remind us, we acquired 7 new defenders under Tata Martino.
Yeah, but
defenders.
So
and
you're going to use that
PMs.
argument, but like a lot of those center backs, those were emergency signings. Like none of the
was
Feder,
emergency.
yeah, and Martinez, those were not
emergency.
like guys that they were like, we're going to build around. It was like, oh shit, we need somebody.
But again, like these are decisions the coaching staff made. So I agree with your base argument. I don't think a better defense changes much on the outcome. But if you want to have that conversation, and I know a lot of people on Twitter and in the comments are, Tata's still responsible for the defensive makeup of the team we have today. He was not playing any Phil Neville guys, with the lone exception of Noah Allen, who wasn't a center back and became one. But if the argument is that defense was our issue, Tata has to be accountable for some of that.
I agree with this comment, but how are we paying for Kamal Miller?
Miller, we had Tom Poker on the show earlier this year, and he said Inter Miami did not want to get rid of Kamal Miller. They had their hands forced. Yeah, they had to, but they did not want to get rid of him.
Yeah. And so this is the thing, like everybody on Twitter saying we need a better defense. Show me how we pay for that. Show me. Because this team is maxed out contract-wise.
I mean, Mike V is mentioning a good comment here. We had a 12-year-old as our star center back, which is essentially Aviles.
When you're in this league, the MLS league.
Yeah, I thought so too. But in reality, I would imagine Aviles because he looks like a fucking baby.
But the MLS, when you have a league like this that has a salary cap and they want parity, you're never going to have a great team from all positions in the attack, the midfield, and the defense. You're just not. Yeah. It's almost impossible. So you have to pick and choose. Now, to that point, defensively, I know everybody kills defense. If you root for any team in MLS, just about everybody, you're going to do the same thing, because there were only 5 teams that were better than us defensively when you look statistically. And looking at that means that we weren't as bad as everybody makes it out to be, because we let up goals. I understand, but this is the MLS. They want people to score.
But Danny, to agree with you, the goals is a little bit of a misnomer too, because if you take away 2 games, our bottom 2 games of goals being scored against us is as bad or worse than almost anyone else's bottom 2 games. The statistics look a lot different. I'm talking about the Cincy game and the Red Bulls game. Like, you take away that's 10 goals.
That's 10 goals.
That's 20% of our total goals scored against us in leagues play this year. It was in 2 games. So I agree with your statement. I don't think we're as bad defensively. I absolutely agree with Branton's statement that we were built to score goals, not stop goals.
Mm-hmm.
And the money we've continuously invested has been in the midfield, been in attacking positions, and that's where we haven't been good enough. Like, that's been my frustration all season, is that we are not scoring enough goals. And Danny, I know I've argued with that one a bunch this season.
That is crazy. Inter Miami just scored the 2nd most goals in MLS history. 2nd most of all time. And if you take off PKs, so in play goals, right? In the who was it? Was it Galaxy, I think, that had the record? They had like 10 PKs. The record is 84 goals. Inter Miami ended up with 79. Out of those 84 that Galaxy scored, 10 of those were from penalty kicks. Inter Miami had 1. This was the best offense in MLS history, hands down. They scored the most goals in MLS history if you remove shots from penalty spot. How are you going to say that they didn't score enough? Nobody's ever scored as much as them.
Because our whole team concept was you had to outscore every team by a lot. And those games were a lot closer than they should have been. There's a lot of, and I know I'm not going to pull out the spreadsheet because I actually have deleted it, but there was a lot of 2-1 games, 1-0 games, 3-1, 3-2 games that were very close games that I will tell you my expectation as a fan, it's on the trophies, is we would have been more beat the hell out of our opponents on a more regular basis and be able to do so in major games than we ever were able to do. But that's my answer to the question. I get your point, and I think you might think I'm crazy, but with what we were trying to do, with who we were trying to do it with,
being the greatest of all time, the most goals in open play in MLS history wasn't enough.
No, listen, we just lost in the first round because we couldn't score goals. We scored. I think I have it here. We averaged in this series, we scored 1.6 goals per game, which was below our league play of 2.32 goals per game. So we couldn't do that in the game.
I think sometimes, especially in MLS, it's more important about when you score the goals than how many you score. And we just came up short when it was important. You know, in the regular season,
Guzan failed. He made the season a failure for us because they should have scored more in this series.
They should have, but then, you know, you also have to, again, you have to look back at like the low quality of some of the shots. Like Guzan in the first game was way better statistically than the next two, and he lost the first game. Because in that first game, I think we had almost an XG of 4. And then the next two games, I think it was right around 2.
No, the last game was 3. It was over 3 for game 3.
Was it? Because that first game was like 4.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I went over it in the post game. It was over 3, and then theirs was 1.5. So we doubled them.
Look at this one, stinger for Danny. Sean Callahan says, that's like blaming the teacher for me failing math. Nice one.
But exactly,
Danny's ever heard that one.
That is a great point. How are you going to blame Tata because they didn't put the ball in the back of the net? But I
think they're saying you're blaming Guzan because they couldn't score. I think you're reading that differently.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cooking.
It was 2.77. 2.77 was the XG. Okay.
So, Danny, who's going and who's staying here? I mean, that's going to be big. Those are big questions.
If Suarez wants to go, show him the door. I've never been a Suarez fan. While he's here, I'll root for him. But
wait, hold on. You're talking about how effective everything's. He had 20 goals for a season. It's the only time we've ever had in MLS history. You've had 2 20-goal scorers, and the first one you want to get rid of is one of those scores. After everything you've said,
he's agreeing with you. We need to score less next season.
So, do you think Campana is gonna be the next 20-goal scorer next season?
I'm not a Suarez fan. I've said it since before we got him. I said it while we got him.
You've been hating on Campana all season. How are you gonna say that?
Okay,
you've been saying Campana's a garbage can.
First of all, I never said that.
Yes, you did.
No, what I said is that he is not a DP player.
Let's hold this guy accountable here. Come on.
He is not a DP player, and you can't tell me that he is. Has he played like a DP? I think he could be the best backup in the league. Yes, he could be the best backup in the league. But I'm sorry, he's not DP quality.
Well, we're not paying him as a DP, to be fair.
100%. Stancy's right. I do hate Suarez. I've never hidden that fact. I've said it a million times. Yeah. I do not like the guy.
It's funny, Danny. I started the season because I've some things have changed. Hating Tata, I've not.
But I've never thought he was. But Campana. I thought you were about to say Suarez. Okay.
No. I did not think Suarez was going to have the season, but I wasn't a hater like you are.
But I was not silly. A Campana fan. I hated Suarez, but at no point did I think he was going to fail. I knew he was going to kill it when he got here.
So why do you want to get rid of? Why are you okay getting rid of for a guy? By the way, just remind Suarez is on a TAM deal. He is not a DP player, and if I am totally on board, if he wants to become a DP player, send him his ass to the curb. But as long as he's on a TAM deal, you really going to get rid of Suarez?
I said if he wants to go, because I've seen some people say, he might retire. Well, if he wants to retire, let him retire. If he stays, that's great. I'm sure he'll score another 20 goals next year. But if he wants to go. I'm not crying about him leaving. Why do everybody keep saying, why do you hate Suarez? I hate his personality. His personality, I despise that guy's personality. When I watch him on the pitch, it annoys the hell out of me. I can't stand that guy. Yeah, especially when he's playing for Uruguay. I cannot stand that guy.
I think he's a great teammate and a terrible person to play against. That's what I think.
I do think
Suarez.
I do think Suarez might be done. If I'm going to be honest,
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I'll throw out my reason why. I think he's underpaid. I think for what he had to go through this season, he's going to want more money, and I think that's going to be to Branton's comment. Like, it's hard to find the money in this league. You're going to have to make him a DP. And do we really want to make Suarez a DP? That's got to be a tough choice for this team.
Look at this. Daddy's Columbia colors are coming out strong. Oh, it's unforgivable, Amanda. You got to throw more O's in there. No U's.
And then somebody said that Suarez is like Vinny. Yeah, I understand why people don't like Vinicius. He's another one that his personality is just so annoying. It's like, why are you like this?
Solana is somewhere turning into the Incredible Hulk right now. You do know that, right? Like he is right now raging. And the next show,
I've had
you
this
are
conversation plenty with him. I've had this conversation plenty with him.
I mean, look, he produced, and then Campana. Look,
I cheered for every goal while he's on the team. That's fine. Right now it's the off season. I don't know if he's going to be on the team next year.
Why do you get to hate on Suarez and say you cheered on every goal and everyone's like, okay, Danny's okay. But I hate on Tata and I cheer on every win and everyone's like, Mike wants us to lose. What's the difference there?
I don't see your point.
No, the other guys in the show certainly do.
Get out of here, Daddy. You're awful. You're awful.
What just happened? I don't understand what just happened. Okay.
I don't see your point.
Okay.
I think Emerson's coming back, by the way.
He's not coming back.
Yeah,
they'll finally sell him
for sure.
Oh God.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna throw in Emerson. Do you know who the fastest guy on Inter Miami this year was? As of 2 games ago, because they threw the stat up.
Robert Taylor.
Noah Allen.
Oh yeah, Noah
Allen was our fastest player. So if we could get a left wing that's faster than Noah Allen, I would be thrilled. Like absolutely. I know you're asking.
We kind of did. We had Lassiter.
Yeah. Well, I want one that's actually good.
Why you roll your eyes, Danny?
But to me, that's our number one need is a pacey left wing. Like that's bar none. My hope is a DP caliber pacey left wing to come in and open up this attack. I know you're gonna say it's crazy. I have to say that for days, but I'm opening up the attack.
So to Chris's question, who stays? You know, the 4 are probably gonna stay. I think Suarez ends up staying. Do you think Drake is here next year? I have a feeling he's not going to be here next year.
Yeah, but who are you going to replace him with? Are we going to go out and find out Hugo Lloris of our own?
No, but see, with goalies, I don't think you need, like what we're saying with the coach, it needs to be like a huge thing. I think you can find a lot of people that are
yeah,
good.
but I think Drake's
But he's
cheap.
not very expensive.
If you get somebody from South America, they probably won't be too expensive either.
Yeah, but I think Drake, I might be wrong. Someone can fact check this. I think he's on full GAM. I don't even think he's in TAM territory. So I don't think he's really affecting the salary cap in a way that this is a money play. It really has to be, can you find someone better than him?
And another thing with the Drake is it depends on if Tata's still here. Because if you bring in somebody else, it all depends on how they like to play when they have the ball. For example, you know how you brought up Pochettino? Pochettino loves to build up out of the back, but he's like one of those coaches that builds up out of the back, like where the goalie is lined up between the 2 center backs as they're building up out of the back. With somebody like Pochettino, Drake could never be an option because you were like way too much. Marsman. Because they were like way too much on the goalie contributing in the buildup of the play. So it all depends on if Tata's here or not.
And that was, so to your point, I was kind of surprised. I was thinking a lot about this, about who's Tata guys, and everyone Tata's brought in this year. I know the backup keeper they went and grabbed last second. I was surprised in the 3rd game we didn't see him. I had this moment of, I don't know if you're laughing about what Son saying.
I'm having this comment, Florida man.
But I was a little surprised that at some point in this tournament, or when we got to Atlanta, he didn't try this keeper, because I just kind of felt that, to your point, Tata wants more of that play out of the back ability, and he might have had it there that he's not getting free. Because I love Drake. I've got his jersey on my wall. I've said it for a long time. If you get someone better that fits the system better, I'm for it. But it won't be a money play. It's going to literally be someone that fits Martino's system better, or new coach Javi's system.
But now, and I mean, Joe Kerr's bringing up somehow Danny gets more frustrated with IMCF fans than he does with ATL fans on the day we lose.
What can I say to them? They beat us. I had nothing to say. I was in shock.
Look at this comment that Ash brings up. We need a Spanish-speaking goalkeeper that distributes the ball. Isn't that CJ Dos Santos?
Will you stop with the CJ Dos Santos, please?
I'm just bringing up an option. What do you want me to do?
And I promise you, I'm sure Drake has figured out how to communicate with the guys after a couple of years playing.
I mean, he's got Zen. The Zen abilities help too.
Yeah.
I mean, according to Kata, Drake is going to be a backup.
Nah, you think so? What are the chances that we don't protect him in the expansion draft and San Diego picks him?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Danny, that's a great comment. I will give you a
interesting.
point for that comment. That's a really well thought out comment.
Good job.
Well, I mean, isn't he from San Diego?
Yeah, he's from
He is?
San Jose. I think he was from San Jose. But
San Jose, yeah.
he's from that area. It makes a lot of
Played
sense.
at Cal.
If they wanted
Yeah.
to, if they didn't plan on keeping him. I don't think Drake is back next year.
Oof.
All
I
right,
think he is, but I see your logic.
What about Toto Aviles?
Yes, he's back.
Toto Aviles. Yeah,
He was
think he's gonna be
Martino's
back.
guy.
back.
If Tata's back, he's back. And I think part of the problem with Toto is we paid the record for center back bringing in to the team.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he was the record transfer fee ever paid for a center back in this league. I don't think we would get the return on investment right now for him.
I think he stays, and I think he continues to improve. I know people might
agree.
think I'm crazy, but look, to me, he looks, when he's not doing something really stupid, I was like, man, this kid could be really good. But then he
He's
has
the
his
most
boneheaded
consistent.
moments.
He can grow out of that, though.
Yeah,
That's
I
youth.
think. I think that he can grow out of it.
Can I throw out there?
Go ahead.
My biggest complaint with him was yellow cards. Did he even get one yellow card in the whole series?
He did.
No,
He did. He ended up getting it on game 3, I think, if I'm not
I don't think
mistaken.
he
Hold
did.
on.
Maybe in Atlanta he got one.
But I thought that was kind of
Maybe if
funny.
he would have
As
gotten
I don't,
suspended for game 3, we would have been
Wait,
better.
you're right. Yeah, hold on. I think you're right. He didn't get a yellow card game 3. I'm going to check the other games.
and,
No,
and
he
maybe
I've got it.
maybe Branton was right when I was bitching about him getting those yellow cards. Like maybe he needed that. That was the difference maker. We lost in him.
Yeah, he got one in Atlanta.
Oh, yes,
Did
he
he?
did. 56 minute. Yep.
Yeah.
Game 2.
All right,
yeah.
Cello.
Okay, so I take that back.
Is Cello here next year?
Yes. We don't have anybody else. I mean,
Yeah,
Foray,
I don't see.
I'm
who else
hoping
you're
not
gonna
Ian
get.
Foray.
No,
Yeah,
Remember,
go ahead.
Cello was about
Ian
half the
Frey's gonna
price
be
of
a backup.
Yedlin. He was half the price of Yedlin. He was
I like
pretty.
Cello. I know I'm in the minority there, but I like
He
Cello.
works. He puts in work off the ball and on the ball. Do I think he's great in the league? No, I think he's average, but I don't see why we spend money on a right back when you have Alba on the left who's going to be pushing up. Like, you just need somebody who's going to be there and be healthy. And I think he's there. I think he stays.
What about Rojas? Rojas is back next year, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, Rojas. was
Rojas,
effective.
I will say, I think Rojas did enough to be sold for value.
I agree.
That's a good point.
And Gomez is
absolutely.
gone.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting stuff I want to chat some in that. Apparently, Brighton just fired their entire what do they call it? Scouting staff. So hopefully,
Cool.
one thing I've pointed out, we've never seen a contract, like an official contract. It's all been announced, but never like official.
If you could
So
keep
I assume
Gomez,
he's
would
gone
you?
too. Say again?
I would love if you could keep Gomez, would you? I would love to keep him.
Oh, yes.
I don't think Branton knows I raged against this man his first few games here. Yeah, of course. If you can keep him, you keep him. I do think though.
Chris
if you
still
don't
owes us a
keep-
apology letter.
Well, but
Yeah.
here's one thing to call out. Kamaski's now a U22 DP as of like a month ago. So if you keep Gomez, we're going to run into U22 DP issues. We have too many of them with Fry's back.
With who?
Freire.
Not Frey,
Yeah.
Frias. I guess
Oh,
Farias.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
with him back, we're going to have too many U22 DPs again.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
He was
Somebody's
actually
gotta-
Gomez
moved
kinda
out
has
of the
to go.
position. Yeah, he was moved out of it because of the injury. When he bring him back, oof.
So
All right,
someone has to go in that U22 group because we just don't have it from a salary cap rules perspective.
All right. Last one. Gressel. Is he still here next year?
Yeah.
Forgot Redondo, by the way, because but I think
I think Redondo's here for sure. I don't think
Redondo might be
anywhere.
worth money.
He hasn't
Yeah,
done
but I think
enough
that he
yet.
wants to.
No,
I think
he's
that
gonna-
he wants
he's
to
gonna-
play as much as he can with Busquets.
to increase his value. I think that them playing as a double pivot would be great. Gressel, actually, Yannick Bright will be back, so forget it.
Gressel, I think is gone. I think that's a shame, but the Gressel experiment failed in the playoffs, right? Like the fact that Tata
Didn't even
play him-
exist.
It didn't exist.
It never
Well, that's a
happened.
failure.
Like the guy was Tata's most, like has to be Tata's most played player, and he doesn't play him in the playoffs.
No, but this guy
We're all
Danny
looking-
wants
like,
to
we're
put
all
was
trying to
the-
get stats real quick.
The key
Danny wants to
addition
put Coco Jean
the
instead
offseason.
of Gressel.
Most minutes played was that can't be right.
It
2024.
was Busquets, and Gressel was right behind him. Gressel had the second most minutes of any player in the regular season.
Yeah.
So, now,
Gressel
this is
had
the thing.
fifth. I'm looking at it. So my thing says the fifth most. It's still a lot.
Mine's is regular season. You might
So
be
is
looking. You might be looking at playoffs and everything combined. No, I'm looking right here.
You forgot a player, Danny. How about Taylor?
Oh, Taylor's gone.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't think.
You don't
Taylor's
think they're going to protect him?
I think for his own sake, he at some point he stayed to ride the wave this year, but I think he wants to play.
I'm
Did
on
he
the
just
man
sign
has
the
skills.
extension?
I 100% agree with Danny. Taylor's gone. We're trying to fill that position, I think. Don't forget, we haven't had the Neymar conversation yet. I don't know if that's what we have next, but like someone said it earlier, Robbie Taylor is finished, which was amazing. But he's finished.
Yeah.
Finished.
Yeah, that was
finished.
a really good dad joke. Very good.
Oh,
dad joke.
and it went over my head for a second. I got it now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Messi. I heard some people saying some stupid stuff about how he's gone. He's staying. I don't think that even needs to be said. Okay. All right. I think that's just about everyone.
I'll throw this out one kind of question. I'm curious if they restructure any of the Barca Forest contracts. So Alba and
It
Suarez
has to be
or Tam,
Busquets because I
Has
don't want to
to
give
both ways.
Busquets.
because are Alba and
Busquets.
Suarez okay not only making $1 million apiece? And is
Mm-hmm.
Busquets is Busquets going to stay at this $8 million number? Because
Busquets makes too much money. He's got
I
to.
agree.
but he's a DP, so it doesn't matter if he makes $2 million or
Personally,
$8 million, but he makes a
I
lot.
would love if we moved on from Busquets.
Ooh.
I think you have Redondo and you have Bright in those CDM roles with Ruiz kind of like a backup. I think that's if you want to improve the defense, like everybody's saying, I think you got to move somebody big. If we want to bring in Neymar, one of them's got to go, and it's going to be Busquets.
But you'd have to bring either full on sell Busquets or get him down to a non DP level. Because remember,
No way.
2 million or 8 million, it's the same on the salary cap sheet because he's
It's a DP
Yeah.
designation. I think Busquets is still here next year, though. I don't think he's going anywhere. All right,
I think
last
he's still
one.
here, but I hope they can renegotiate a little bit.
Last one, Chris Campana. Is your boy Campapi still here?
I don't think so. I think that they're going to find a new home for him. I think if they don't protect him, San Diego's going to take him because I feel like, well, if San Diego doesn't take him, I feel like other MLS teams can do way better with him.
I think Campana's going to shine wherever he ends up going into MLS.
He's going to be the
Just
next
like,
Carranza.
Absolutely.
you took the words out of my mouth.
I really want him to leave, but not because I want him to go.
Because I want him to succeed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
me
him
too.
to succeed.
Mike, you hate him.
No,
you
I stopped
hate
hating him a while ago.
Campana.
I moved on. I reevaluated.
Our first
might be
like
because I'm-
40 episodes was me fighting you on Campana.
I know, but him and I had that moment in the bathroom at Hard Rock Stadium, and it just changed my view on him.
What the hell happened there?
If I...
You haven't heard the story?
I don't think I want to.
Oh, it's totally G-rated. So I went to the Copa Finals. I walk into a bathroom with my son, and I realized Campana is the guy in front of me standing in line to use the bathroom. I got a bathroom selfie with him and everything.
You got a bat.
Oh, no.
You just made the list.
No
I was
way.
on the list long ago.
Oh, he got a selfie with Breck Shea on Sunday too.
Yeah.
We saw Breck
like,
Shea
in the
at the Fort
bathroom,
Lauderdale
though?
United game.
No, it was. Well, I mean, it was in pissing rain, so it was kind of
Wait,
Yeah.
at that Fort where?
At the
At the
Fort
women's
Lauderdale
game.
United game, the women's game, Breck Shea was there. He got a selfie. I talked with him for a little bit. Yeah.
What in the world? So Brexit is just randomly hanging out at Fort Lauderdale United games.
I think he was there with Jeff Cameron. I think Jeff Cameron was there.
I don't know who he was with. There was
Why,
another.
why,
supposedly was
why
another
on
old
earth
Inter
would
Miami
Jeff
guy.
Cameron? Okay, no.
They have some sort of business thing together.
No, I'm sorry, Brandon. I was thinking Cameron Maben for some reason. I was like, what the hell are they doing
God.
together?
Wouldn't
I
that
don't
be
know.
wild?
I was like, what? I need to know the backstory to that. All right. And so Campana, I think we all want to see him succeed. I think he would succeed somewhere else. I would love to see him and Robert Taylor team up somewhere else and succeed. Obviously, hopefully, we never
New
see them
York
in the
Red
playoffs or
Bulls
anything.
team up with Lewis Morgan.
Ooh.
No, but that's the East Coast. Now you got to send them to the West Coast. I don't want to see them. I want to see them succeed somewhere else where we don't play them. But I would love to see them.
I want to see them be the reason Tata gets fired.
What if they go out
3
to
games
Portland
into the season?
and Neville slowly rebuilds his favorite team out there?
I can see that.
Oh, in
I can see
Portland.
that.
And everybody talks, all you Neville lovers, and if you've been here long enough, you know I'm not a Neville hater. It's just the Neville lovers annoy me. What happened with him and oh man, my
Evander.
So the articles
Evander,
I
what happened
read,
there?
the articles I read was that it wasn't Neville, it was ownership. That ownership made some promises that they came through, and I thought oh, I can't think of his name now too.
Evander.
Whatever. I thought he came out and said it's not Neville, it's not coach, it's above him.
Okay.
Xander,
All right.
yeah.
Yes. All right. So stay and go. We don't know. It's going to be a fun off season no matter what happens. So I think we're reaching the end here. But I think
my City Lucas, by the way, threw it out in the comments. Vander did a podcast. It was the ownership promised him more money and help him around him.
I mean, he had teammates that like I think he had 3 players on that team score 15
But
goals.
similar
more
to Miami, they always played a DP short, I think, there. And like those are the kind of things when you're not fulfilling filling all the roster to the maximum and you're choosing money over players, the big guys get frustrated.
Messi, Mike, is it his fault?
As a player, no.
Okay.
As the person who has
Messi.
a very what? Say again, Chris?
Yeah, I think you're gonna get to the point as a Messi.
As Messi, who has a significant say in the roster building, coaching, tactical decision making, I think he's a part of the problem. We can't see inside the locker room to know. I don't think Tata Martino on his own is making decisions. I think Messi's a part of that. And frankly, if you look at it, that we paid Messi $20 million a year to win games like this, we've won one big game this entire season, which was the Columbus Crew game, to win the Supporter Shield. It's the only major game we won all season. Was the stat that Twellman has been saying like 85 times. Messi played 18 games, the full 90 minutes, lost all 3 to Atlanta. I don't think we can absolve him of responsibility. I know if I say it's his fault, the chat is just going to literally come to my house with pitchforks.
Oh, for sure.
You hear the cops coming? You don't hear the cops?
Yeah, no, I hear the Argentinian
about this
Air Force.
conversation.
But I don't think you can absolve him responsibility. So I think as the larger Messi with a capital M, yeah, he has some blame in this fiasco.
I do agree with that as well. I feel like as a player, right? I mean, it's only one of 11 on the pitch, right? So you can't really demand too much. But as far as like Messi, the god, right? Unfortunately, he has like this high ceiling where it's like you expect him to do a little bit more than everybody else. So
you expect him to be more than just the best player on the team.
Right.
Correct.
And frankly, let's make a statement. He was not the best player on the pitch those 3 games.
On the team, I said.
I'm saying on the pitch.
No, on the pitch.
I'm saying, no, on the pitch, it was Brad Guzan, obviously.
Yeah.
But
and I think that alone over a 3-game series, you also have to bring that up. Like, I get it. To your point, Dan, you've said it 100 times. Like, goalies are going to have games, players, but the fact that Messi could never outshine Brad Guzan, who I passionately dislike, I will never forgive him for the Gold Cup disaster to Jamaica in the handball. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google that. When a goalie gets a handball, something went seriously wrong. And so, like, hate Guzan, and I'm saying these kind of statements.
Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry.
I think as a player, I think every player who was on the field for these 3 games is at fault. I think it's too easy to say because he's Messi, oh, you can't blame him. Yeah, I think there is accountability for every player that played this in these 3 games. Julian Gressel's probably the only one who can say, like, hey, I'm not at fault because I didn't play. But
And I was always out of position anyway.
Yeah. But seriously, I think if they played in these games, yeah, you have to blame them. You have to say that they're at some sort of fault. And that's how our season ended. But you also have to give them credit for, they're also a reason why we lifted the supporter shield. There's going to be highs and lows in every season. And unfortunately, when Twitter hears that somebody says, oh, Messi's at fault, everybody fucking attacks because that's what you do. You defend the GOAT or whatever. But in reality, like, yeah, I would hold any player accountable on that field, just like I hold Tata accountable. And you know what? I think it's fair to say that he did have some blame in the way that the season ended.
I don't think anybody would accuse me of being a Messi defender to the point where, like where he can't do any wrong. But in this case, I don't think he's at fault at all. I thought that he played the best of anybody on the team. I thought he created chances for himself and others. And Guzan kept the ball. And if you want to say he wasn't good enough because he couldn't get past Guzan, I guess Guzan played out of his mind. Like, you just have to give it up to Guzan. But I think that Messi was creating for himself and others, so much so that he was tracking back to the midfield to get the ball because they weren't getting him the ball. So he was going to go out there and find opportunities for other people. I think that he did all he could. Now, everybody's saying, but they lost. So if they lose, then Messi didn't do enough.
There was a point.
There are some games that he played poorly, by the way. Like the game at NYCFC in New York back in September, that was a poor performance by Messi. Like,
So let me throw this out there, Danny, to that comment. There was a point in game 3 around the 75th, 80th minute. We're down 3-2. And Atlanta's got the ball in our half. Their center backs are sitting around the midfield line. Messi's the only one within 10 or 20 yards. And they're just kind of playing the ball around the outside. And he just kept walking. And I had this moment watching the game where I said, we're 15 minutes away from being bounced from this tournament. And Messi's putting no pressure on these guys whatsoever. And because of that, he won't be any effective on defense because they're just going to pass around him and go through. And I know Messi does not play defense. I know I will Pep's famous comment, there's only one man in the entire world doesn't have to play defense. That's Messi. Every other soccer player has to play defense. But that lack of effort right there stung me. I just can't walk away from it. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. But when you're about to get bounced from the tournament, I don't feel like every player is doing everything they can do. I just have to say that happened. Was it one moment? Maybe.
But like, think about it. What do you remember that famous, and it ended up being a viral video of the final in the Leagues Cup in Nashville, where they have a camera following Messi, and he's walking for a solid 10 seconds. And then he sees his opportunity, makes the run, scores the goal. Like, that's just what he does. Like, I don't think you could point to that and be like, but he's not giving us
moving. I know the video very well. The play's moving around him and he's looking for his opportunity. At this point, we're just trying to get the fucking ball back. Like, we're trying to get a counter going or something. It's I know the scenario, but I think to me, I would say I think it's different. I get that Messi's famous quote to Ruiz is, you got to walk more. I know it's a part of his. But at some point, there's moments in the game where you got to start pressing. You know, you made the comment under Pochettino, high press. But that moment required some pressing, and it really stung that he wasn't doing it.
Well, there are some moments when he does that. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
And let's be clear,
there was a game
Messi's smarter at soccer than I am. I just want to say that. Like, maybe in his mind, he was doing the right thing.
You said.
We got to be careful where we tread here. We got to be careful where we tread here because the chat is cooking. It's brewing. And all the people that, of course, are big, huge fans of Messi are now claiming that we are saying that he is the worst player in MLS history.
Now, there was a play. Was it the Columbus game where they lost the ball and he won it back in his own third, and everybody was celebrating it because it's something that he doesn't really do that much.
Right, he doesn't do it
I can't
often.
remember what game it was, and I remember
No,
what
I
it was, but
absolutely remember it.
If he sees the opportunity, he's gonna take it.
And
He's
that's
just
what
not
kind of
gonna
bothered
waste
me was 'cause
unnecessary energy.
it was so little left. Like I wanted to see that last effort. And to the comments, I am not blaming Messi for losing, like scoring every goal, but I am calling out, like, is he completely absolved of all responsibility into losing a 3-game series? No.
Tread
He's
lightly,
got to be
Mike.
part of it.
Tread lightly.
No, but okay, Branton.
You know how many more Twitter followers I'll get if I say I hate Messi? Like that alone, it's a plus 1,000.
Branton, do you honestly think that Messi could have done, outside of not having Guzan save those shots, that he could have done more to help in this series? Because I think that he played a good series overall. And I know because he didn't score those goals, everybody's gonna be like, but he didn't. Just based off of what you saw, if they don't call off that offside in Atlanta where he scores that other goal to tie the game, like if that, like, because everybody points at the goal, and I understand that if that's what matters, but when you look at the game overall, I don't think he could have done more.
So I think anytime you lose a game or lose a series, especially like we did, there are going to be moments where you can say, yes, this player's at fault, Messi's at fault. And yes, he did absolutely what he needed to do to help us win. And in the third game, like I remember thinking, like, where has Messi been? He kind of disappeared, and then all of a sudden he reemerged and scored the goal. And so while I do think Messi tried. Like, nobody is saying Messi didn't try. Just like the chat is saying, like, oh yeah, we just said that he didn't play goalie and he didn't defend. Like, nobody's saying that. I think
To be fair, the
anytime
chat
you
also
lose,
just called us Miami FC, which was pretty funny.
Yeah,
'cause
well.
that's-
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's
but anytime you lose a game and lose a best of 3 series to the worst team in the league, there's blame that's going to go around. And when I say it's Messi's fault, it's Suarez's fault, it's Alba's fault, it's every player on this team's fault.
Except Julian Gessels.
Wow, that was more of a joke. He should have hit Tata in the head to get him on the field or something. I don't know. But when you lose in a playoff format like this, it's everybody's fault. Like, just by saying Messi has some blame in this, it's not saying Drake Callender doesn't have any blame in this, or the center backs don't have any blame in this. Like, there's blame to go around, and it happens. It's called accountability. And if you ask Messi himself, I bet you Messi would tell you, you know what, I could have done better, and this is where, and he would know exactly where he could do better. And that's what makes him so great, is because in those moments, he's not going to let it happen again. So, like, I don't think defending him so blindly like this is really, like, constructive. It's accountability. Like, you have to know when you've screwed up.
Listen, there's only one person I will say is solely to blame for this, and that's Tata Martino.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, I mean, look, and Sargent is bringing up a comment, like, it's sort of backhanded, like, this ignorant is saying Messi can't outshine Guzan with teammates that can't even get him the ball. Like, at some point, we were getting him
bad situations.
But let's take a bigger step behind. Like, Messi was a contributor to the roster building. He helps. He's on the training pitch.
Yes.
He's part of tactics.
I think you give him a little too much credit for that type of stuff.
Erwin, we watch a couple games. We watch enough games, buddy.
But I don't think.
But you know what, Erwin?
I'm with Erwin on this one, and Erwin usually kills me.
You just left. You weren't even here for this whole conversation.
Yeah, but I was
get out of here, Danny.
I was making a bottle. Relax.
Fridge guy land.
I was making my bottle. I gotta go feed my kid in a little bit. I'm with Erwin though. He did everything he could. First of all, the second game, you guys said the midfield didn't exist. That's that worked. The midfield didn't exist the second game. Messi's tracking back. Messi makes a beautiful through ball to Jordi Alba. He swings it a low cross to Diego Gomez, and if Diego Gomez doesn't fall asleep, he scores on it. Messi created opportunities for other people for us to score more goals. Like, what else do you want Messi to do? Like, just because he's Messi doesn't mean that he's like put one in the win column. And if you don't put it in the win columm, Messi could have done more. Like, obviously, as a player, you don't win. You're going to be like, I should have done more. But, like, when you're watching the game, like, what else could he have done? I think he did a great job with what he was given.
I feel like Tata really shit the bed, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So I just had to laugh.
One player to blame, person to blame. It's Tata.
It's Tata, yeah. But someone just made a comment. I can't wait to see what Messi does to Atlanta next year. Messi lost to Atlanta on the field 3 times this year and tied them one
Atlanta
time.
is the kryptonite.
So I just think it's funny. Like all of a sudden, I think that was part of my frustration personally with this game, because every game after I expected Messi, even after the first one, Messi didn't score the goals we expected. Yes, Guzan says that, but no, game 2, he's going to come out there and remind Guzan who's the fucking boss of this league. And then it didn't happen. So game 3 is going to be the time where Messi's going to get out there. And I think you talk about expectations, and maybe someone could say this is a crazy expectation I'd had that Messi was just going to show up and basically do it to Atlanta what he did in the Leagues Cup a year and a half ago, where he just destroyed them 4-1. Like, that was the expectation. 4-0. Thank you. That was my expectation. And so where I hear a lot of where was the teammates game? These were the better teammates than last year. And by the way, Atlanta's team last year was better than this year. They had Almada. Did they have the Greek guy yet? I think they had the Greek guy at that point.
Yeah.
So this was a worse team that we destroyed. And so
after game 1,
to the point of Messi wasn't getting love, then that's on Tata Martino for not giving him a team tactics to get the
after
the ball
game 1. After game 1, you didn't feel like, oh yeah, Inter Miami's going to kick this team's ass. Look at, they dominated today. You didn't feel like that after game 1?
Not for I felt they would, but not for that reason. I thought that Messi was going to be frustrated and just dominate the shit out of them. He was going to do to them what he's done to other teams when he gets pissed off at them, what he did to the Red Bulls, what he helped do to Cincy. Like that, they screwed with me. I'm going to screw them back. That was the reasoning. Not that he had such a great game and it didn't work, but more so, I'm just angry. And even more so in the back of my mind, even though I expected, like I had this expectation to lose, I'm like, but Messi could pull this off. Messi could Messi this. And it never happened.
I know Tank is being sarcastic.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But this
don't
is
do
it. I'm sorry. If Guzan doesn't play out of his mind, Miami wins this series. You don't tell me otherwise. I'm telling you. If he doesn't play out of his mind, Miami wins this series. All right.
You're right. I'm going to agree with that statement, but that doesn't absolve Tata for not finding ways to beat him.
They had 25 shots. What else do you want Tata to do? You want him to go pick up the ball with his hands and walk it into the goal? There's only so much he could do.
Well, but let's go back to Branton. 25 shots are not the same as 25 good shots.
I will also say,
you watched that, you saw some good shots.
Danny, if you lose a game or you lose anything in life, even if you gave it your all, there's still something you could do.
That was deep.
You could win.
And
we didn't do that. And it's not just Messi. It's not just Tata. It's a team. As a team, we did not do what we needed. The one thing we could do, and that's win.
And that's why I said that although I am not on the whole, this is absolutely an abomination, Tata is the worst, I'm not on there. But I do think that after a performance like this, it is okay to be like, well, maybe we should change coaches. Because I feel like there needs to be somebody that's head rolls for losing to the 9th place team when your expectations are that high. So there, I'll give you that. But again, I still think that Tata wasn't fully at fault for this because I think that they played a better game. Just Guzan, I know Tank said it sarcastically, but Guzan played his ass off, and that was the difference.
Yeah, but I just want to throw out, you keep on throwing out the 25 shots. We scored 2 goals. Our XG was only 2.77. So it's not like all those shots were realistically going in. That for 25 shots at 2.77 XG feels awfully pretty low.
10 on goal. So 25
shots.
Back,
like
10
we're creating
shots
low quality shots. Like we're not creating shots of high quality. When we do, they go in because we have elite talent like Messi, Suarez, those guys in the box.
I don't want to go into the weeds because then we're just going to go out in circles. but did you see Atlanta and how they had 3 or 4 men draped over Messi every time he touched the ball? I don't understand. I don't understand how he got
passing it back to him.
Well, look,
There's the
that's a whole
problem.
other story. That's fine.
But that's a
the
tactics
problem.
issue.
When
If
you
there's
got
one man there, where
that's a young kid that isn't sure of himself, because Matias Rojas would have sent that to the 4th row.
Hold on. I agree
Gomez
with
sends it
everything
back,
you
too.
just said. Thank you. It's a great point. Why the hell was he on the pitch, even at halftime?
Because Yannick Bright wasn't there to defend, and even though he went
Julian Gressel could do it.
Julian Gressel cannot defend.
Oh my God, he defends
can't.
better than.
No, he can't. He cannot defend. He cannot.
He's
defend.
a
Stop
right
saying
wing
that.
back, isn't he?
No, he cannot defend.
Or he was?
Did I just break Danny?
Oh
Do I
my
get an
God.
award for? Do I get an award for this?
He's got to feed babies right now. So I guess this wraps.
gotta do
Wait,
something more
Danny, we're gonna
important.
wrap it up. No, wait, you just walked away from the show.
He's gotta feed baby, man. That's more important.
I win. I'm claiming the win.
Yeah, you officially broke him. Yeah.
Whew. Chris, has this happened before?
I don't think so. I think I've only seen him break like this maybe one other time in my life. And but unfortunately, it's those are losses that he's just gonna have to take. He's gonna have to learn how to. Danny, are you back? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you coming back, or are you? What's happening here?
I'm back.
Are you back?
He just took 2 shots real quick. It'll calm down.
Yeah, he did. That bottle wasn't for his baby. That was him, and he disguised it with that outer milk thing.
I love how like the chat is saying like Mike and I annoy you so much, like all this shit. They don't realize that we text each other like.
Yeah, you and I
You're
were
just seeing
disappeared for like a
our-
week because
our
we both
group
were busy.
chats.
Danny's like, "Are you guys alive? Are you okay? I'm worried about you."
Well, you guys hadn't put anything out in a while. All right. Is there anything else, Chris?
Nah, man, that was.
This is
I mean, we were
by far and away
The
the longest show we've ever done. Far and away.
Yes, but hey, time flies
Mike
when you're having fun,
Branton,
buddy.
And Mike and Brandon know that I like the whole hour mark.
I was shocked
I was
you went
waiting
past
for
an
you to
hour.
just chop us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I thought that the conversation
It
was
was
going well,
fun.
so I didn't want to cut it. Yeah, for sure. I have one last question for you guys. And this is my off topic, I guess. Battered Fans Network. Branton, what is your biggest battered moment as a sports fan?
Oh, God.
Doesn't have to be Inter Miami, anything.
Liverpool losing the title on the last day of the season.
Oh, Agüero!
I cried. I've never cried over a sporting event before, and I cried. Yeah, that was it.
I was so happy that day.
Yeah, well,
I was
aren't
happy
you a
because I saw-
Liverpool fan now?
No, well, I'm trying to watch the EPL now, but I was happy because I saw Luis Suarez crying. Mike, what's your biggest battered?
yeah.
sports fan
Funny
moment?
enough, I referenced it earlier. 2001, Florida Gators versus Tennessee in Ben Hill Griffin. The game was supposed to be the second week of September, but was moved because it's September 11th. At the time, Florida Gators entered it as the presumptive SEC champions and going to the BCS National Championship. And Tennessee came in and rocked our world on a last-second play. People were walking around. You're going to play in the Rose Bowl for the championship. People had come to the game with roses thrown on the field. I stayed in that stadium for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, just tears on my face, like complete
Which
shock.
stadium?
Ben Hill Griffin. The Swamp.
Yeah. Was Chris Leak the quarterback at the time?
No, Grossman. Sexy Rexy.
Oh, wow. Rex Grossman. Okay.
Sexy Rexy was quarterback. So I will say,
One of the worst quarterbacks to ever make a Super Bowl.
oh yeah, the Chicago. He was so bad for the Bears.
Yeah.
I will say Saturday was worse.
Really? Okay.
There's video of me again at midnight standing on top of someone's truck, just like still struggling. How the hell did that just happen to us?
Yeah, that was wild.
Because at least Tennessee was like our rivals and stuff. We lost a third game at home to Atlanta.
I'm interested in the chat also. If the
It's
chat
just
wants
that.
to jump in, I'm interested in the chats also. I'd love to hear the
some good
battered
ones.
stories. Chris, I've never asked you. What's your biggest battered moment as a sports fan?
That's a good question. I I'd say the most the one that I can remember when I was a kid was I think I was like 12 or 13. It was the 1997 series, the Knicks against the Heat. When the Knicks, I think they ended up losing Game 7.
Oh, that was the first time that they played because the Heat beat them, and then the Knicks beat them 3 years in a row after that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I remember very deeply, which is why I hate the Miami Heat.
And then here, Real Madrid winning number 15. Okay. Well, some people enjoy rooting against teams more than rooting for their own teams, which is okay, I guess.
Well, I think most of your fans are convinced that's how I feel about Inter Miami.
You know what? A part of me feels the same way. I think a part of you, like, this is how, because this is what my brother does. My brother, when he really, he's really invested in a game, like hypothetically, let's say Inter Miami plays against the Galaxy in the final. He's like, I need Miami to win, right? He's a diehard Inter Miami fan. So he'll put like 100 or 200, $500 on Galaxy. So that way I win, but if I don't win, then I win.
Yeah, no, I don't gamble. And I'll tell you how far I'll go. I won't even do March Madness brackets unless I think Florida Gators can go all the way. So I've only done like 2 in my entire series ever because I will never bet against my team. I'll never root against my team.
But that's the thing. I think that this is what you do. I think that you root for your team, but you're ready to laugh and be like, I was right if they don't do well. Like,
yeah,
a part of you was like,
when you see
Saturday
Mike after a loss.
Saturday.
You've never seen me Saturday. You've never seen me after a loss. I do not react well to, and I think that's what the frustration is I am so angry at Tata Martino for squandering the greatest MLS team ever created. That's why the hatred, it's true, visceral reaction is because
but you were excited
this is
to talk
the greatest team. What'd you say?
But you're excited to talk about it and say that you were right.
Oh, I'm having fun with it. You're allowed to have fun. Like, I can enjoy a moment.
No, but he wants you to walk in like dopey, like
no.
Yeah, I want you to finally admit
guy.
that you've been praying to a false idol for a season now, and recognize that, hey, maybe it's time we get a coach that's deserving of this roster, because Tata Martino is not.
Well, we're not gonna get into that again. All right, I'm sorry. I'm about to say who, but forget it. All right, and I think that's it. Make sure I know that this is going on your channel also, but just in case anybody's watching on our channel, let everybody know they can find you guys.
Grant, you want to handle that?
Oh yeah, I was waiting for you, but yeah, we're just at the Inter Miami show on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify now too. We've started doing that again, and we're on Twitter. So yeah, give us a follow. Check us out. What you saw today is basically what you get. Mike and I arguing back and forth and yelling at each other. But yeah, no, thank you guys for having us on. It's always a good time to talk with you guys and just shoot the shit.
Yeah, it's always fun. Like you said, we do it over our chat all the time. And Mike, Miami King's asking, what's mine? It's hard to pick. I have 2 that I always have a hard time picking between. One is Kevin Durant's big toe being on the 3-point line, where they could have eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. They would have won the championship that year. That big toe got them eliminated. Or, which is probably my first real heartbreak, was 2001 World Series, Game 7, bottom of the 9th. Luis Gonzalez, Mariano Rivera gave up that lead. And honestly, I would trade in the three-peat that the Yankees had for that 2001 championship. After 9/11, I thought that would have been the perfect championship to win. And that one hurt like hell. So those are
our
2003 World
two are
Series
like
also
within like a few weeks of each other.
Yeah, I know.
Danny,
when you said 2001, I thought the same thing.
We're right there.
Yeah. And thank you for that, Tank. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
right,
the Yankee series killed me as well. I hated that.
That's 2001 was brutal. 2003 against the Marlins.
That killed me. I was in the middle of Bird Road no, that was the worst for me. I was in the middle of Bird Road by Bird Bowl with a bunch of people with pots and pans and had a Yankee jersey, a Yankee hat, and I'm like, God, this is awful.
And for any of you guys that haven't already, batteredfans.com, we have 20% off. The store. It has more than just Inter Miami merch. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, promo code HOHOHO24, and you get 20% off of everything in the store. So go ahead and check that out. And I think that's it for the longest episode. Let me see if I can wrap this up before 2 hours. If you're listening on audio, thank you for listening all the way to the end. Please give us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And for those of you in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the last 2 hours. And we will be back on Thursday with Drive Pink Dialogue. Got it right this time. We'll be talking a lot of the similar stuff, see what he thinks about the future and all that other good stuff. So until the next one, have a good one.